Hey guys, I am here today to talk about using the out breath, the exhalation for decompression and nervous system relaxation and regulation. So, this is something that I do often in the work I so lovingly do. I have several resources which I have flagged here to kind of use as tools as we go over this content. But I think probably the best encapsulation would be my attendance at beach yoga. I always tend to enter into the scene on the periphery, and I try to kind of be a little farther back from the group. And the instructor is always kind of doing this and come closer, come closer. But the reason that I stay to the periphery is because I find that when I use my exhalations as my form of decompression, it can be somewhat off putting to other individuals who are present in the class. And I think part of that is because our exhalation really is an act of surrender. And we have to be present in our bodies. We have to be present with ourselves. We have to be attuned to what we're sensing and feeling in order to allow ourselves to exhale in that audible fashion. Okay, so in a lot of the tools that I use, I'm very heavily somatically based in my therapeutic approach and my orientation to this work. And so I use a lot of polyvagal regulation strategies. One of those is, of course, deep and slow breathing. We also have humming, chanting, gargling, and singing, which are wonderful ways to upregulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest, and to downregulate our sympathetic activation, which is our fight or flight. So that brings me to the relaxation response, which I mentioned in the little encapsulation. So, what is the fight or flight response? That is where our HPA axis, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, gets all kicked up and firing overdrive in our brain. And what it does is it ticks up our physiology. So we'll have increased respiration, increased blood pressure, increased heart rate. What the relaxation response does is it calms all of that down. It actually slows the heart rate, it slows the respiration, and it reduces the blood pressure that's pumping through the body. So we get a lot of really robust effects. I'm looking for the actual underlined content that kind of shares that. So it talks about how when the mind is focused, whether through meditation or other repetitive mental activities, the body responds with a dramatic decrease in heart rate, breathing rate, blood pressure, if elevated to begin with, and metabolic rate, the exact opposite effects of the fight or flight response, which I have paraphrased in the description. So, in each of these 3 books, I have an exercise that correlates with this. The first one is called Sounding the Exhalation from Donna Farhi's breathing book, Good Health and Vitality Through Essential Breathwork. The next one is called Sounding into the Body, where you're sending sound into the body. That is also followed up by one called the sound. And then the other one, which is the one that we're going to do together today, is just called the sighing breath. So I just want to introduce that so you get a taste of what that feels like and how that's going to hit your system. Okay, so I'm going to read the description. The action of sighing and its accompanying movement of shrugging is a natural manner in which the body responds to difficult information. Sighing is familiar to most of us and usually happens involuntarily. By comparison, the sighing breath is done intentionally. Adding some arm movement places some emphasis on something we're already feeling, and it will probably feel good to sigh in this way and is super easy to do. So just kind of noticing how you're feeling right now, noticing the breath coming in, noticing what it feels like as the breath is being exhaled. And then as we breathe, just going to sound that exhalation with a little sigh on the out breath. And you can take this as deep as you like. Now, this particular author is recommending that we add a little bit of arm movement to that. So if you want to try adding some arm movements with this sighing breath, you can go arms up. Just allowing yourself to enjoy those sighing breaths. A lot of times, as we are coming into a setting like a yoga class, it can be really helpful to do a little bit of decompression in a lying down position. So I'm going to go ahead and just model what this might look like and sound like and feel like. Here I'm in rest or easy pose where my feet are flat on the ground. I've allowed my knees to just gently close and fall into one another. And from here, just allowing the weight of the body to settle. And I can already feel everything starting to drop and relax. The tension in my muscles throughout my body is starting to give way and release. I feel a softening through my forehead, my cheeks and jaw, and the rest of my face, the front of my neck and my chest. I'm using my hands to boost this practice, holding my loving hands to my body, allowing myself to feel the heat between my hands and the place that they're resting gently, and continuing to press that out breath out, elongating the exhalation, making it longer than the inhalation for those full decompression benefits. And you can do a little release work here. I actually feel inclined to kick my legs out straight, lift my arms up high. I now release what no longer serves me. I now release what no longer serves me. I now release what no longer serves me. As I do that, I'm noticing that my base, my pelvis, my hips, my buttocks, the base of my tailbone, everything is heavier into the mat. My whole body feels deeper relaxed, more at ease. From this place, you certainly could close this practice here. But while we're here, if you'd like to call your energy back to your body now, you can invite all of your energy that's been leaked or siphoned or otherwise been able to leave your system and go out to be called back to you now. I call my energy back to me now. This time breathing in, still allowing yourself that nice robust exhale. I call my power back to me now. I call my authority back to me now. And just noticing how that feels. Hopefully closing with a little bit of a head buzz, a little bit of a body buzz, a little deeper relaxed, a little more attuned to the body, the emotions, and the sensations. Certainly, if you're curious to learn more about using the breath as a means to regulate, we can go a little bit deeper. But, one of the things I found myself doing, even as I was sitting in my hot tub yesterday to relax, was really expelling that out breath. And I found myself just kind of sitting kind of in this position and just saying, and it's like I was expelling the breath out deeper and deeper and deeper. And as I did that, I felt more fully relaxed into the water, more fully enveloped by the water, and more gently held by the water. And so I would offer that you play with these exhalations and these sounding the exhalations, these extending the exhalations. These are things that you can play with while you're driving your car, sitting at a stoplight. These are things that you can play with in the shower. These are things that you can play with when you're lying in bed, either going to sleep or waking up in the morning, really at any time of the day. So I recommend that you play with your breath, play with extending and sounding those exhalations, and really allow yourself to have that moment of surrender. And what are we really surrendering into? We are surrendering into the present moment. And that really is where our power lies, in the present moment. So much love.